Okay, so welcome everyone to the How the Most Effective People Manage Their Energy webinar. And the main reason why I've done this is that this is the biggest subject I reckon impacting right now. If you can look after your own energy and manage yourself better just personally, you know, the majority of issues are going to be so much easier, because there's only one common factor in every problem and every issue you have in your life. You're there. So if you're operating at 50% or 30%, you're not going to get a very good outcome. If you're operating at 70%, given the current environment, you're just going to do so much better in negotiations, in being a parent, in being a partner, you know, in every area of your life. And it's really, like, I just can't emphasize how important this is. And I'm going to give you a model of personal resilience that you'll see, that's why I'm feeling a bit under pressure. Like, if you're feeling like that, then it's you shouldn't be surprised. So let's get a bit interactive straight away. So why, first of all, is this subject important to you or of interest to you in attending? You've kind of said to yourself, you're going to dial in for an hour for this thing, so there must be something important or of interest to you. So if you want to jump in the chat or come off of mute immediately, that would be fantastic. Or maybe I can just pick on a few people. John, why are you here, John?
I'll be honest, I've been feeling a little bit blah during this long period of pandemic. Yeah, it's almost like, you know, the mundaneness, waking up, you know, sitting in front of a computer. It's tiring. Sometimes it wears me out. Yeah,
no, totally, I hear you there. Daniel, are you there to come off of mute? Why is this important to you? No. Strategies for energy management and increased well-being. James is on a walk. Adam, why is this important to you?
Yeah, hi. Just too many meetings back to back all day, and no separation between work and home.
Yeah, and that's one of the big, yeah, that's one of the big boundaries, and it's a matter of, we've got to have an increased level of discipline around that. You know, I know some people have introduced simple things like they dress for work, and then when they come out, they change their clothes because it's an energetic kind of, right, I'm out of that, because we used to have this gap of going in and out of the office. So simple things like that, you know, even some people said I've got them to put a sheet over their desk so that it's kind of locked away and it's a different kind of time. Managing those boundaries is really, really important. Managing those boundaries. And second, the thing is that what Adam said, like, this situation isn't going to change. This is kind of like the new normal, and we need to kind of adapt to it. Julie, I take it you're all okay just letting people in constantly. So sorry for all the noisy sounds. I don't think I can do anything about this. So these are some of the words that kind of come from people. You know, John started, which is blah. So I didn't put blah, but are you waking up feeling exhausted? Feeling guilty for not having the energy to spend with your family or do the things that give you joy, you know. Are you fatigued with constant change and disruption? Feeling like you're working so hard, but seem to be going backwards. Just Julie, if you can just mute people as well as they come in, that'd be great, because they might be on another call. But the thing is that if you're any of these things, like, you're not alone at all. It's not you. The world has actually changed, and so do we. So there's two main factors on us. One is our psychology, and our second is our environment. Our environment has fundamentally changed, so we need to kind of change the way that we show up. So I'm going to go through a number of tools and techniques and stuff that I work with my clients on, just to kind of grab a few things to give you some prompters and some tools to walk away with. And the first thing is actually understanding energy basics. So energy basics is, you have tension, and then you have relaxation. You have this charge that comes in of energy, and then you use it, and then you have discharge, and then your energy out, and you go into relaxation. So this kind of, like, tension going into action and then relaxation, energy flows. It is like a wave. It is like, you know, like a stream kind of flowing down, and we need to understand that energy is flow. So wherever we put something hard, like a big boulder, for instance, we create resistance. So this is the first thing with energy, is where we're restricted, where we're resisting against something, we're disallowing, where we're suppressing emotions, where we're forcing against something, it's actually draining our energy more. You're literally, you know, in the middle of a stream, putting your hands up, trying to push the water back. It's really ineffective. And so the first key thing with energy, we need to understand that it flows, and it's okay to feel tired. It's okay to be really revved up and that, and just kind of allowing this almost circadian rhythm kind of philosophy around energy to kind of be like, yeah, it's okay to totally switch off and have a beer and eat a pizza, or whatever your thing is. It's when you're doing that repeatedly every night that now that's become a numbing technique. Okay. So, and it's really ineffective for us to have an expectation that we're at the top in the yellow all the time, because you need this to be a cycle. And where you can, you've got to prime your kind of relaxation time within it. So just think about energy basics. Where are you resisting? Where are you forcing? Where are you not doing the things that you know to allow your energy to flow much better the way that it kind of used to? What was your previous environment? Are the things that worked for you that in this current environment maybe not? And how can you replace them? Is just like, this is a bit of a philosophical kind of like just challenge, but sometimes just from prompting that with people start to going straight into, oh yeah, I have resistance against that, and it does build up for me. I need to let that go. So it can really help in this way. And throughout this session, I really want you to kind of like, what's the insight? What's the understanding? What's the thing that I can take away to do something differently for myself to improve my levels of energy? So we did a session on what the most productive people do differently. And I think this really applies, which is time bandits and energy vampires. So in your life, if you want to manage your energy much better, who and what is literally draining your time and energy? You know, it might be that every time that I have a chat with Ari, for instance, he's like, after that chat, man, I just feel exhausted. Like I've drained his energy. You know, Ari needs to put in a better boundary around that conversation. You know, so who are the people, or what are the things that you're doing on a daily basis that's draining your energy or your time? And the first thing to do to kind of optimize that is just be aware of it. That, for instance, distractions, the study that was done, I don't know, about 9 months ago with regards to distractions, we're distracted 11 times, an average of 23 minutes. Like, that's a lot of hours. That's like, what, 4.5 hours we're distracted, that we're literally just losing time. So if we can kind of claim back some of that time, we can actually put it into things that we want, and therefore feel more energized as a consequence as well. So get out of your head, just observe what's wasting your time, who's wasting your energy, and how can you put better boundaries around that to protect it, because then you'll have more energy to start with. That's like a massive tip that can help you like 30-50% easily. Just that one. This comes from an article with the Harvard Business Review. You might have seen it. It was called Manage Your Energy, Not Your Time. And I've continued to use this. Like some of the things are maybe, again, a little bit dated, but it's just key to realize, if we're going to manage our energy, what is our energy? And in actual fact, there's 4 types of energy. There's our body energy, there's our mental energy, there's our emotional energy, and then there's our spiritual energy. Now, our spiritual energy, just to kind of clarify, it could be religion, but spiritual energy is about your connection to self. That's what spiritual energy is. It's like your connection to your own spirit. And you might do that through religion. You might do that, you know, like I give my mum a call, for instance, and she goes, "Oh, hello, Robin." That grounds me, you know, because suddenly I'm a son and it's my mum talking to me. It grounds me in who I am. But there's these 4 energies that we need to wage war on and go, what are the things that I can do to improve? And I'll give you an example of this with regards to, I have a, just to show you how this stuff kind of works. I have a ring that detects all these different factors and all this kind of stuff. And I'll show you where I was starting to get really busy and a little bit drained and a little bit tired. And you can see, let's just get rid of that text message. You can see hopefully there that I was pretty high and then I dropped. And at that point, I was like, no, I need to go back to being really disciplined on these 4 things. And the last 3 months, I've just gone up and up, and I'm back to an average of 88% readiness, you know, from an energy perspective. And so it just shows that all of us have this rhythm. It's okay to be lower, but it comes back to these basics. These are the things that I came back to make that difference. So just remember, if there's any questions, put them in the chat. Feel free to come off of mute and ask as well. So your body energy is simply that. It's how you're physically feeling. Are you feeling physically exhausted? And the thing to ask yourself is, but why? Because in actual fact, it might be that you've physically been running around, but a lot of us right now feel physically tired. But in actual fact, it's nothing to do with the fact that we've been running half marathons every day. We feel like we have, but we haven't. So this is why I want to challenge you on, you know, our body energy. Someone's got their hand up. Yep. Manoj?
Yeah, that's me. Sorry, I was struggling to speak. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, just in the slide back, I was trying to follow it, although I was not able to see the slide. Did you say that you measure your energy level? Is that what you said, or?
Yeah. I've got it's called an Aura ring. So it's a bit like a Fitbit, that type of thing. It's called an Aura ring, which detects all levels of sleep and activity and heart rate and body temperature and all that kind of stuff. So it actually measures it for me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. It's a device. That means, sorry, I didn't see that. Thank you.
Yeah. No worries. So your body energy, some of the top reasons your body energy, and we'll get into, if you stop and actually think that you feel physically tired, but you know you haven't been doing exercise, it might not be body energy that's actually the problem, but we're going to get onto that, okay? But if your body energy, some of the top reasons include that you're not getting sleep is the number one thing. You're feeling physically tired, not because you've been exerting yourself, it's that you haven't been recharging your energy and getting the sleep that you need. That you're actually missing meals and you're not eating nutritious food. You haven't got a good rhythm around that. Granted, you're not working it out enough. So your body energy is lower because you're not exercising. That's normally the problem, because your energy is becoming stagnated. You know, I'm really fortunate. I've got a tiny house here and a massive field and a river, and I can just walk around and around the field. So when I'm not doing this, I'm on phone calls, walking around the field like a madman, and the cows are looking at me thinking, what the hell is he doing? But it's managing my physical energy much better. And again, taking regular breaks. It's these basic things. You do them and you will notice a difference, just like what I showed you on my graph. So out of those things, if you know that you are feeling physically tired, like what action are you gonna take to improve your energy there? You know, it might be a matter of, I had one client who said, Robin, for the next month, I'm waging war on sleep. I'm not going to upskill in any skills, tools, or tactics. If I can just do that, I'll be so much better. My God, that individual was so much better the next month. They said, amazingly, a lot of the problems I had a month ago aren't there because I had the clarity to actually just get on and fix the things that I knew that I needed to fix. So how to balance, get 8 hours of good sleep, you know, simple things. You can just Google any of this stuff, like, you know, switching off your electronic devices, not eating 2 to 3 hours before bedtime because your heart rate kind of impacts, dimming your lights. There's different apps that you can get on your phone, on your computer, for changing the background light so it's more conducive for getting you ready for sleep. There's simple iFlux is the one on the laptop. If you just Google that, it's an app there. on your phone. You've got nighttime settings. There's so many little simple things that you can do to actually help you get better sleep, for instance. And again, in the morning, if you know that getting up, I think, John, you said that you felt blah, right? Set up a morning routine. Like, you know, like if you buy a, what do you call it? A chainsaw. It's like the quick start method. Press this 10 times, pull that cord, flick that switch, boom, there it goes. You need the John version of that. I get up in the morning, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. Everyone tells you about what the morning ritual is to do. The most important morning ritual is the one that works for you. I don't care if you exercise, if you meditate, if you hit snooze 2 times, because that works for you. It's about you owning your own quick start kind of method. It is good to do exercise, stretch, meditate, get your body moving, get everything going is good. You know, have a freezing cold shower, go for a swim, those types of things. And essentially they're eating right, you know, is really important as well. Not skipping meals and eating right for yourself. So that's the body stuff. The mental energy is, it happens when doing new things. It happens when we get into overwhelm. It's when we're using this front of our brain, which is the neocortex. Old things such as driving uses the old part of the brain. New things uses this. We've got lots of new things, change and all this kind of stuff occurring. And we're going into states of overwhelm. There's so much to do is the first stage. Oh my God, look at all these things I need to do. And then you go, and I have to do them all. And that's why going back to, if you've signed up for or watched the recording, we'll do another one in the future. What do the most productive leaders do differently? It's actually about, right, what do I really need to do? What can I defer? What can I delegate? And what can I dump? Because I don't have to do everything. And if I don't do this one thing, I think the world will continue tomorrow. It's a matter of just making sure, and I'll give you the acronym in a minute, but it's about stopping and actually getting a grip of the reality, getting out of your head, right, what are all the things, and vetting them. Because if you don't, you go to stage 3 of overwhelm, which is, oh my God, I just can't do this anymore. And the truth is, of course, you can do it. You've allowed yourself to go through those 2 stages of overwhelm with your mental energy. So when you're mentally energy drained, it's time to get out onto paper, be hard on the problem, easy on yourself, list out all the things that you need to do, and use the optimized productivity tools. And we've got optimized productivity tips in the YouTube channel that you can see and all that kind of stuff. And I'll just paste the all that kind of stuff in the chat there for you. So where you don't look after your mental energy, you start to get fatigued. Why? This part of the brain uses more energy than that part of the brain. That's why you feel physically exhausted. You feel mentally drained, but you actually feel physically tired because you've been using up more energy. And then you feel fatigued, and then you can go to physical exhaustion. And that's why when you feel physically exhausted, is that the problem, or is it actually your mental energy that needs to be fixed? And that's one of the things is sometimes we look at one of the energies, but we actually need to look at the other one instead. Top reasons why mental energy is a problem for you is you've got difficulty focusing on one thing at a time, and you're distracted by this, that, and the other. Again, the optimized productivity training covers all of this one, to be honest. If you're finding that you're just reacting to things constantly and not being proactive for the longer term, your mental energy will be drained, because that will be going, look, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. And it just gets draining. And you haven't got any time for sitting back, reflecting, strategizing, creative thinking, and doing the things that you know that are important. And the only thing that you need to do is wage war on optimizing your productivity from there. So this is this thing that in actual fact, after a busy day, as part of your ritual of managing your energy, even though you feel physically exhausted, it's actually better to go and do exercise because you feel more energized afterwards. Just jump in the chat and say yes if that's something that you've noticed, that when you feel mentally drained and fatigued, exhausted, when you actually pull your finger out and go for a run, go for a walk, go for a swim, have a run around with the kids. Have you found that you actually feel more energized after doing that? Do you feel better for doing it? Just jump in the chat and say yes or no. Yes. And the key thing with this is everyone else just type in yes or no if that works for you. Because the thing with this is a lot of this is common sense. It's just not common practice. And that's the thing. How can we make sure that we make it common practice for ourselves? Physical movement brings the energy back. So the first thing, yeah, usually, yep, sometimes, yeah. And that sometimes I've done that where I've gone, right, Robin, you feel absolutely exhausted, but you know you need to go for a run. And I've gone for a run and I'm running and I've gone, nah, this is not what I need. Do you know what I mean? And I've just stopped and gone, yeah, just go for a nice walk, you know. Can't get to golf course, but that makes sense. Yeah. So mental energy, you got to be observant about what's going on. Yeah. Do exercise, shift your energies, get yourself in the right mindset first. Be hard on the problem, easy on yourself. Get clarity, reset expectations. Watch the optimized productivity training, loads of tools, practical tools that you can use that I use on a daily basis to make sure that I don't get mentally kind of exhausted. Set rituals. What's the top 3 things I must get done today? So every day, if you kind of part of your morning ritual, if that was to go right today, what's the top three things that I'm going to do today? If you just did that and everything else kind of was there, but you focused on those 3, you would find your mental energy would be better as a consequence of that. Easy on you, hard on the problem. Just write everything down and then do the 4 Ds, like I said. Emotional energy. This is an interesting one because people go, no, I'm emotionally okay. So if that's you, the answer is no. You're normally just like pushing it actually down. When we ask people, how are you feeling? And we did this training with how to process emotions and feelings. When I asked everyone, how are you feeling? So jump in the chat. How are you feeling? Jump in the chat. Tell me, how are you feeling? Let's just see what the responses are. How's everyone feeling? Jump in the chat. Just write a single word. How are you feeling? Exhausted, Craig says. Frustrated, exhausted. Good. Average. There we go. Average isn't a feeling. Average is a judgment. Yeah. So the other ones, interestingly, maybe we've kind of preset this. Feeling exhausted and frustrated is, and tired, you know, fine. You know, that is, yeah, that's loaded. Fine, isn't it? Is shit a feeling? Yeah, I reckon it is, Naveen. So it's a matter of, a lot of the time we just bypass feelings. We go to kind of the judgment, and we need to tap into our emotions and what they're telling us. You know, the symptoms of emotionally not being right is, you know, we're short with people. We've got a short fuse. We're getting grumpy, for instance. We're waking up feeling flat. If this is either going on for you, then your emotional energy needs to be looked at. Yeah. This is the mental to the body to the emotional, because if you are mentally getting exhausted, you physically feel exhausted, then you emotionally feel rotten. Can you see how it could start in any one of them, but you can see how when one doesn't get looked after, it overspills, but then the solution can be back here. You know, it can be do some exercise because you're feeling physically exhausted. Do some exercise actually gets rid of it. So it's a matter of just being aware of these different energy types and how they play out for you. Top reasons, emotional energy is that you frequently find yourself irritable, impatient, or anxious at work. You're finding that you don't have enough time with family or your loved ones. You just, you know, where's the joy? I can't see the joy kind of anymore. I don't stop frequently enough to express my appreciation. I'm not grateful anymore. You know, is another top sign that your emotional energy needs to be looked at. So what do we need to do with our emotional energy? The key thing with emotions is there's only 2 types of emotions. There's ones that we like and ones that we don't like, e.g. positive or negative. But for instance, the reason why I don't say positive or negative, because you might say stress is really bad. But in actual fact, if I love jumping out of aeroplanes and getting stressed about how good I'm going to do, then that might be a positive one for me. So it's a matter of what feelings do you like and not like, and your emotions are basically your internal guidance system. So when you're feeling good or not feeling good, that's the summary of the two lots of emotions. We need to balance that out. We need to process our emotions and the feelings. The first key thing is acknowledging it. So Naveen, like you said, is shit an emotion? Yeah, it kind of is if we can dig below it, but let's just accept and acknowledge, I do feel shit. Cool. 100% accept that. Then ask, okay, so what do I need to do? Because it may be that I just need to rest. I might need to do something. What I might need to do is I feel shit and I don't know why. I need to go closer to that shitness to understand what are the contributing factors there, and be hard on the problem and easy on myself. But you can't effectively go into that next one until you actually acknowledge the feelings. And just saying I'm good, I'm fine, I'm not good, I'm bad isn't kind of that helpful. It's actually about sitting and actually thinking, how do I really honestly feel? And we've got, if you just Google emotion wheel, Lyra, I don't know if you can put one in the chat for people. I've got one on my screen, but I just want to change it around. You'll see there's a emotion wheel with hundreds of different emotions. That's really helpful to look at, to go, yeah, how am I actually feeling today? And actually use that wheel that Lyra is hopefully going to post in the chat. Use it with your teams at work. How is people feeling? And just by chance, I'm going to show you a feeling wheel, so you might pick the emotion that you're actually feeling. So that's a big subject with regards to processing emotion. But the first thing is about acknowledging, using the emotional wheel is kind of key. In actual fact, Leroy, do you want me to do it? Because I've got it on my screen. No, you got it. The last energy is spiritual energy. So spiritual, well, there's a bit of a typo there. Spiritual is about your connection with your true self. So the symptom is when your spiritual energy is out of whack, is when you're busy achieving but feel unfulfilled. You know, you kind of feel an element of you've lost yourself. Like, you know, you don't feel, you're losing the essence of you. You don't kind of, yeah, you just don't feel like you anymore. You've kind of lost the connection. You've lost the connection to kind of self. Now, out of all of these, this is the one now that if you don't sort your energy out for the other ones, this is the one that really can be, this is where people really get into depression and kind of like, there's no way out of this because you're losing that essence of yourself. So top reasons for this is that you're just not spending enough time at work doing what you do best and enjoy most, or spending time in life doing the things that you enjoy and doing the best. There's significant gaps between what I say is most important to me in life and how I actually allocate my time and energy. You know, the one that I said, who finds it better once they go for a run? Everyone pretty much said yes. But then, for instance, if you don't do it, an emotion kicks in because it's your guidance system saying, well, wait a minute, you know this is good for you, but you're not doing it. You're not living your true self. You start to feel even shitter about yourself. So it's a matter of getting back to the basics of being you is essential with energy. And not surprisingly, so many people are in this space at the moment. You know, they need to get reconnected with themselves. Some of the things, and that's meant to say I don't invest enough time and energy in yourself, which is about what things do you need to do so that you can be better. And that's where some people say, well, I've got work and I've got homeschool and I've got this, I haven't got any time. I'm like, you haven't, you know, that is the number one priority, because if you take a little bit of time out for yourself, you can be so much better in all those areas of your life, you know. So getting balance, you think about which part of your life is misaligned to your true self and what do you need to do about that to get back into action. And like I say here, it's simple actions. It's like, yeah, I need to call my mum, or I need to call my family members, or I need to, for me, nature is the number one thing for me. Getting out in nature on my own, love it. And probably connecting with family are the two things that I kind of do that are really important for me. Meditating as well can kind of really help me get grounded back into my center of self. Like I say here, nature recharges your spiritual energy. We did a call the other day just asking all my clients what they did, and pretty much the number one thing was going outside, going for a walk, being in nature, in the park, whatever, just helps us kind of come back into ourselves. So then when you go back into your life, you can be a better version of yourself. So with energy, think about these 4 types of energy, and Lero will put in the chat. Can you put the balancing energy template in the chat? So basically all the top contributing factors from manage your energy in your time. We've got a template there that you can download and you can use as a tick list. I use this for about a couple of years. I literally had this document we're going to put in the chat printed out, and it was beside it was beside me as a prompter to make sure that I was doing, like it says here, don't overcomplicate it, do the simple things, yeah, in each of those areas to look after your energy. Any questions on this? Because there's 2 other quick tools that I'm going to go through before we end today. So any questions or queries on any of that, first of all, from anyone? No. Okay, it's time for you all to get into action. I'm gonna ask you to jump in the chat and kind of tell us what's the one thing that you can do as a consequence of attending today to improve things for you. Personal resilience is so important right now, because this is what we're not looking after. Stress, what does it mean to you? Rebecca, what does stress mean to you individually?
So at the moment I'm homeschooling. I've got 3 kids at home, so that's a constant distraction. It makes me feel guilty because I'm not spending enough time with them, and then I feel guilty about work, so then I stress out. And yeah, and that often carries through right until I go to bed. Yeah.
And you started answering that question straight away, which is, how does it affect your daily and personal life? So Naveen, do you want to come off of mute and let us know, how does personal resilience and stress kind of impact you personally and professionally?
Just not having the ability to manage, I guess, your daily tasks or your energy, or not doing the things that you want to do, or kind of that best of both worlds kind of thing. Yeah,
totally. I remember, and I sometimes give an example to my clients where I was quite young. I was about 16, and I remember being so stressed about buying a pair of trainers, sports shoes, and I had the money. I knew where the shoes were. I knew the shop, and I knew when I was going to go and get them. And I remember being so stressed about it in the morning, and I was like, why are you being stressed? I'm like, all these things, but I still had this sense of stress, which is exactly what you're saying. When you're stressed, everything is hard work, even buying a pair of trainers, when you know where they are and you've got the money and all that kind of stuff, everything is just like so much hard work. So we need to improve our level of personal resilience right from the get-go. And the thing is that, can we see a way out of the stress, or are we fighting against the inevitable? And what we need to do to have this realization, we just need to stop for ourselves. And I'll give you a tool for doing that right at the end, which funnily enough is called Stop. And it's one of the most useful tools I use, and everyone who kind of let know about using it, they find it the most helpful kind of tool as well. Because are you putting your energy into the right things, first of all? So if we just stop and actually ask ourselves, first of all, maybe with all the things that I've got going on, which ones do I really need to do? Which ones do I need to delegate? Which ones do I need to defer? And which ones do I need to dump because they're not serving me? And if I also stop and I'm thinking about where I'm putting my energy, we need to think about, right, what are the things that we control? you know. And I remember when what's his face, Donald Trump was getting elected and everything, everyone was putting all this energy into Trump and like this. I'm like, well, you don't control it, because you can't even what the next one is, you can't even influence it. But you seem to be putting a lot of time, energy and effort into, you know, watching what's being said and all this kind of stuff. And it's a matter of, where are we bleeding our energy? We're putting things sometimes into things that we don't control. So what we need to say, am I putting the energy in the right places? Because there's things that you absolutely control. You control if you take a break or not. You control if you go for a run or a swim at the end of the day. You control when you eat and all those things. You control that, you know. And we do a pretty lousy job sometimes of doing the most basic thing, which is our only thing, which is about looking after self. So we need to realize what things are in our control and what things are not. And more often than not, I find people spend a lot of time and energy and effort on things that we do not control. So that's the control. We need to think about that. So this tool is called CIA. The next one is influence. What things do you influence? So, okay, well, I don't control it, but I could influence an outcome, or I could influence this situation. Cool. You could. But given the amount of energy you've got right now, do you want to? That's the deciding factor. And if you are going to put energy, how much energy are you going to put into it to influence it? Because you're not going to put everything in. Well, you might want to put everything into it, but then there's a set kind of time frame with regards to how much until you kind of give up. You know, all of us have got a threshold of going, right, I'm going to try and influence Naveen, you know, to go for that run. You know, after 3 months of nagging Naveen to go for a run, I'm going to give up. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of, sometimes we're constantly putting effort into things that to influence them, but we're not getting the outcome, and we do need to drop that. And then the final thing is, what things actually aren't in your control that you don't influence, that you just need to accept. And this is, if you want a film recommendation, go and watch Frozen, you know, like Let It Go, where she sings it. Let it go. It's let it go. We're holding on to stuff. Like I said, energy flows. When we're holding on to something, we're causing resistance, we're causing grief, we're causing emotions to kind of block up. There's certain stuff that we just need to let go and go to the keeper. Not everything, but particularly things that we don't control, we don't influence. We just need to accept them and then put our energy into, right, what are the things like COVID restrictions? Okay, I've got to accept that these are the restrictions. Are restrictions. I don't influence well, I can influence the government kind of changing, because I could lobby and do petitions, but that's about kind of it. And what do I control though? Given the environment that I'm given, what can I do? I can still exercise. I can still do this. I can still do this. I can still do this. So often we give up our opportunity sometimes and don't look after ourselves when it absolutely is in our control. So really think about, what do you control, what do you influence, and what do you just need to accept? This is the second to last tool here, which is a matter of the 4 life pillars. So personal resilience, there's 4 basic ones. And this is where I've said humanity is under pressure like it's never been before, because when underprivileged children go to camps to try and rebuild them up, where they don't have families and all that kind of stuff, they focus on these 4 principles. But if you think about these 4 principles for us within COVID restrictions, not David over there in the WA at the moment, but you know, our sense of security. So a sense of security is our knownness about things. In Australia, we've got, you know, the situation is changing so much. There's really a lot of unknown. So our sense of security is kind of shot to pieces. Our other one is our social connectedness to friends, but also shows social connectedness to people at work and those things. Because when we're socially connected, conflict is reduced. We've got more harmony and we're able to sort things out. Our social connectedness is shot. Our health is probably shot because we've got back-to-back meetings and we're juggling homeschooling and all that kind of stuff. We're not sleeping right. We're not exercising. We're tired. We're fatigued, and our health is shot. Now, these pillars are like a table. Now, if those 3 are shot, just generally speaking for people, tables aren't that effective of standing on one leg. The last leg of this table is SOS, which is sense of self, which comes back to our spiritual energy. When we start to lose our sense of ourself and who we are, and we start kind of getting frustrated with the kids and the husband or the wife or the partner or our, family, and we're losing our kind of sense of self, we're not doing anything for our joy. When we lose that, we're in trouble. We're in serious trouble. And that's why, principally why I'm doing this webinar today, to remind everyone of the need to go back to the basics. I've got clients who are in hospital right now, unfortunately, where they haven't stabilized themselves. Yeah. There's the need to look at the basics and make sure these are all propped up. Because, for instance, if one kind of collapses, the whole table can kind of go a bit skew-if when you lose your security and your social connectedness. So, like for security, there's lots of unknowns, but what knowns can you do? Like with schooling, with our kids, the government in New South Wales can't give us an answer. So I've given my kids an answer. Boy, they feel so much better that we've given that sense of security, which is, hey boys, this is what we're going to do with you. So all the news and that doesn't bother them anymore because they know what's going to happen with them. We've given them that sense of security. What is in your control that you can do? This is a really super important model. Any questions on this though for anyone at all? So if you're thinking, what do I need to do? Just think about it. What do I need to do to improve my health, my sense of security, my knownness? What decisions can I make? Social connectedness, reaching out. I sent, while I was waiting for people to come on, I sent some audio messages to people. Just little audios going, hey mate, just thinking of you, just reaching out, connecting with people. Making sure that when you go on Zoom calls with people at work, say, oh, hey, look, turn your video on. Let's just really do this, more social connecting with people. Yeah, there's simple actions that you can do under each of these. So what are we trying to achieve? We're trying to be able to withstand and adapt to everyday pressures and recover as quickly as possible. And these are the areas that you need to focus your energy. And like I say here, the reality is our resilience is under pressure like never before. And it is down to the control that you have is taking those simple actions to improve your personal resilience. There are simple things that you can do. Don't look outside of you, look inside of you. And what is it that you can do yourself? And every day for myself, I'm looking at this and going, what can we do? E.g., the decision that we made about the kids' school was last Thursday. We're like, cool, enough's enough. Bang, we're making a decision. We're giving that. And I was actually surprised how positively it impacted the kids. They just kind of went, oh, that's better. So yeah, use this stuff. There's one final tool that I'm going to give you, and Lero is going to put the executive evaluator in the chat for you. And again, this helps you just diagnose what's going on for you a little bit. And the chart there is, I think it's a bigger version of it here, is basically just think about what things are energizing you, what things are draining you, what things are holding you back, but what things are moving you forward. Because sometimes, like for instance, going for a run can be draining. Oh God, I don't want to go for a run, but I know it moves me forward. You need to have that discipline of doing those things because you know that it's kind of going to get you there. And so it's a really useful tool to do a bit of analysis. And after this session, I'm doing a coaching session with a client who's downloaded this and filled it in and gone, Robin, this is the situation. Can we talk through it? Because they've realized it's come to their attention, the things that are happening in each of these and where they need to kind of balance it up. So Lero put that, yeah, there we go. There's a PDF in the chat for you that you can download. And I just really recommend that you spend print it out, have it on the side just for a day, just kind of fill it in for a day, and then look at it at the end of the day and go, right, what does that tell me with regards to the things that's draining my energy that I need to dump? Where are the gaps? Where are the opportunities for me to move forward? And I think that's all. So the final technique, the one that trumps the whole lot, because they're like, oh, but what do I do? Stop. is what you need to do. And stop means stop, take a breath, observe what is actually really happening, and then finally proceed mindfully. Because when someone's in a panic, the worst thing to do is go, David, just take 10 deep breaths or meditate for half an hour. You're like, I haven't got half an hour. You know what I mean? But we can just stop, take. And in actual fact, how I do this, I go stop. And when I can feel it kind of building up, I mean, I do stop all the time, but where it's like, it's really building up, I go stop, and really loud in my head, I say it. And I straight away, I actually just intuitively take a deep breath into my chest. And I actually say to myself, what the F is going on with you right now? That's the question I actually ask myself, to cut to the chase, to observe what is really going on with you, Robin, right now. Because it's not about everything else. It's about what's going on with me. And I stop, and then I go, right, what do I need to do? Okay, I need to just turn off stuff, and I need to get it out onto paper and list things out. I need to take a break. I need to go for a run. I need to, whatever it is that I need to do, I need to just calm down a bit. Okay, let's get back into it. So the stop technique can take anywhere from 10 seconds to maximum a couple of minutes. That's it. So if you ever say that I didn't have time to stop, I say bullshit. And particularly if you pick up your phone and look at your screen time and look at how many minutes that you're spending on apps, you might horrify yourself. Actually, just doing the stop technique 3 times a day, if you just like put in a notification for yourself to do that, you would manage your energy better throughout the day, because that's the one big thing to do to bring yourself back to yourself. What do I need to do to balance my physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual energy? Is it, you know, security, sense of self-health? Is it de-energizing? Am I spending time on things that I'm not? What do I need to do to recharge my kind of sense of self? And as someone said, you know, what do you do? Do you get on with the actions, or do you sort your mindset out first? And they always said, sort your mindset out first, then take an action. Sort your mindset out first, then take an action. Don't take an action until you sorted out your mindset, you know? Yeah. So that's my top tip. So I would love to hear from everyone. What's your key insight or action that you're taking away from today? If anyone wants to book on for a call or any of that fine stuff, or subscribe or anything like that, I'll put the stuff in the chat again for you. But let's go around. Naveen, what's your key insight from today?
A lot of things.
Just give us one. Give us one.
I think the stop resonates. Stop. I think if you do the stop, everything, you know, you can manage from there.
Yeah, perfect. David said key insight, get back into insight. 100%. John, what about you?
For me, it would actually be, you know, working on my morning routine. Yeah.
Just list it out and then do it. And if you try it and it doesn't work for you, that's fine. Just change it. You know, that's absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a couple of things. Key insight, get back to exercise, be more self-aware about my energy levels or the reasons why. Yeah, just dig into that. Ari, yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm just analyzing where I need to look at my energy and where I need to improve and what actions I can take. So I think, putting some of those things back in my life kind of fell away lately.
Yeah, and they do for me as well. And it's just like, got to get back on it. So Rebecca, how about yourself?
The morning routine, definitely.
Yeah.
Which includes getting up and going for a walk, which I did today and yesterday. So. And
do you feel better as a consequence?
Definitely. Yeah. Do
it again.
Is pretty important to me.
Yeah.
To make me feel good. So that and the stop technique.
Yeah. See, that what you've just said there is your guidance system saying, yes, do it more, do it more. And then what do? We stop going for the walk, and then we wonder why we're getting tired again. Yeah. Daniel, how about yourself? Maybe Daniel's not there. Karthik, are you there? James, are you there? Raman or Adam?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Yeah, go for it, Adam.
I have started a morning routine recently, but I need to add exercise to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to find time, particularly when the weather's not crash hot either, and getting motivated to get outside. Something I need to jump on top of.
Yeah. And one of the things that you just mentioned is about getting motivated. Energy is created. So we need to sometimes create the energy to do the things that we know are actually going to be good for us to create more energy. It's like the flywheel. The hardest pull of the flywheel is the first turn, but once it's turned, it gets going. So yeah, it's about creating energy for that. Awesome. If there's any questions, jump in the chat, let me know. Just a reminder, if you're interested in being part of the InspireMe kind of family, Naveen's been with us historically. Ari's a current member of the coaching group, and we really help leaders and individuals, first of all, get more meaning, joy, and purpose back in life, and then also help people elevate their level of influence and impact, and particularly helping people who are in transition at any stage. And we've got a number of coaching programs to support people, and John as well, we've kind of worked with. Like I say, if you want to do a strategy session, there's a link there. You can just book for a 25-minute call with myself, just to kind of understand what's going on for yourself. So that's a freebie that we're doing this week. I'm pretty booked out, but next week you should be able to get in. And then look, we give plenty of stuff away. The 5-day Kickstarter series is really good. Just gives you a video a day, about 10 minutes long, to help kind of instill some of this stuff and other stuff that will help you get back on the go. And then we've got a LinkedIn group and the YouTube channel as well that you can kind of watch. Cheers, Naveen. Cheers, John. Any questions from anyone at all? We've got 2 minutes. All silence. Go and have 2 minutes and do 1 minute, which is stop, and then do 1 minute with whatever the proceed mindfully is. All right, guys, you stay safe, look after yourself. If you do need anything, please reach out, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers, guys. Bye now.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.